Hello, students. I'm going to be walking you through the goal setting assessment. The assessment is called Hack Your Health. This assessment will be testing your ability to demonstrate the goal setting skill as well as the atomic habits information that we've been learning over the last few classes. The overview of the assignment is as follows. Building a new habit is really tough, and breaking a bad habit is difficult too. We often think that by focusing on the final result, we will rise to the level of the goal and our progress will be simple and straightforward. In truth, that almost never happens. Our natural tendencies get in the way of our success. We get discouraged by slow progress and give up. We fall back into old routines, or we completely forget about our new intentions. That's why we need to hack our brains by developing systems to make new habits obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. Your challenge for this assessment is to get 1% healthier every day. This is a big project. We're going to break it down into 3 phases. The first phase you're going to start today. Phase A is your system planning phase. You'll be using the system planner document to help you accomplish this. Select an identity-based goal or habit. Be sure your identity is about the person you want to become and not a performance or an appearance-based outcome. Then, design a system to create a new habit that will improve your health in some small way through consistent repetition. Remember to focus on the process and not a final result. Now, if you have a bad habit that you'd like to break, you'll be designing a system to help you break that habit over time through consistency. To complete phase A, you will need to finish the system planner document. I'm going to walk you through that in a moment. And then, of course, you're also going to need to go ahead and set up all of these systems in your actual life. So you're going to carry it out. But before you can do that, you need to get everything prepared. So that's phase A. You're going to be working on that today. When we're ready, we'll complete phase B. You're going to implement your system plan and track your habits, track your progress. To do phase B, you'll be implementing your system and tracking your habit on a daily basis. You'll be provided a paper habit tracker, but you can create your own if you prefer, or you could even use a digital tracking system. Ms. Chapp will provide a few minutes in class each day to track your habit. You will need to track on the weekends and when you miss class. Evidence for phase B will be a daily habit tracker. So entries should be completed every single day. Your habit tracker can be very, very simple, like just a check mark every day. Or if you want to add more to it than that, that's fine too. The other evidence for phase B is when I provide you with some time in class to share how it's going, I'd like you to share about your progress as long as that's comfortable to you. Some of us might have really personal goals, and we may not want to share it with everybody in the room. But I'd love for you to take the opportunity to share if possible. And then support your peers as they're sharing. So you might have some ideas to help them troubleshoot. And so in those small groups or large groups, I'd just ask you to be a good support system for everyone else. So that's phase B. My suggested start date will be next Monday. It's nice to kind of start fresh in a new week with our habits. So we'll start together on Monday. And I'm not going to tell you how long we're going to be tracking for. Remember, habits can take quite a while to develop because it's really about repeating them over and over and over and over again. So at some point over the next 6 weeks, we will complete phase C. Phase C is where we pause in our habit progress and reflect on how things have been going so far and make any revisions as needed. Again, I'm not going to tell you exactly when this happens because I don't want you to be thinking about a specific date where you're going to do this. I want you to just keep working every single day to develop your habit. But so you have a big picture idea. After a number of weeks, I will ask you to pause and you'll have a chance to reflect on your experience and share what you've learned from focusing on systems and atomic habits rather than on big goals or final outcomes. There will be a final reflection assignment, which you'll need to complete when we get there. So that's the overview. Next, I'm going to be sharing with you the evidence that you'll need to create for phase A, the system planner. Okay, folks, this document is the phase A evidence that you're going to be required to complete, the system planner. The front side of this document has the directions for how you're going to complete the planning document. And then the back side has the actual system planner. So it looks like this. I'm going to try to scroll in between the two so I can walk you through how you're going to complete this. So on the directions page for the system planner, what I'd like you to do is read through each section. You'll notice that each bolded section here corresponds with a piece of the planner down below. So the first thing you're going to do to complete this is recognize your current health habits. It's a good place to start. You'll read through the directions on your own to complete these requirements. And then you'll come down to that section of the planner and you'll let me know which of the tools you use to help you identify your current positive health habits, negative health habits, and maybe the neutral ones too. Okay. Then you move on to the next section. Clarify your desired identity and the atomic habit you'll be focusing on. Again, you can read through these directions for a little extra help. When you're ready, you'll come down to that section of the planner and you'll fill in the information. Your identity-based goal for this project will be I'm somebody who, or I'm the type of person who, blah, blah, blah. You're going to identify in this space here, what is the habit that you're trying to create? Or if you're trying to break a habit, what is that negative habit that you're trying to break? You're just going to list it there. The last thing you need to do for that section is identify which dimensions of wellness do you expect you're going to be improving. And you can circle as many of these as makes sense for you. You have to circle at least one, but if there's more than one that apply, feel free to circle more. Now comes the fun part. Now is where you're going to design the system that will help you build your new habit or break your old habit. We've learned a lot about how to use the 4 laws of behavior change. So you're going to be expected to list the steps that you're going to take to make your new habit obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. Or if you're planning to try to break a habit, you're going to list the specific steps that you'll take to make your old habit invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. You are welcome to use all of the notes that you've taken. You can use the posters that are in the classroom. You can use materials in Google Classroom. That's all totally fine and encouraged. So I've left it blank because everybody's going to approach this a little bit differently. So I'm not giving you a ton of scaffolding here, a ton of fill in the blanks. I want you to fill in what's going to make sense for you. You don't have to use every single strategy that we learned in the unit. So you don't have to use implementation intention, habit stacking, temptation bundling. You don't have to use every single thing. You need to have at least one thing for each of these boxes. At least one thing to help make your habit obvious. At least one thing to make your habit attractive, so on and so forth. Okay? Now, once you have your system planned, this is what you're going to turn into me. But then you probably have some things you need to do to be set up to begin working towards your habit. So once you submit this plan, then you need to get to work in your real life setting up all the systems that you've planned for. So if you decided that you're going to, one of the strategies you're going to use to make your new habit of working out every day easy by setting up your sneakers and your workout clothes the night before, then you need to start doing that. You need to actually put that in place. If you're going to make it obvious by setting an alarm on your phone that goes off every afternoon at 4, you need to set up that recurring alarm. So go ahead and get to work actually putting those systems in place so you're ready to begin on Monday. Okay, and that's should be everything you need to know to get started on phase A of this assessment. Just want to remind you that we will be starting phase B next week. So you can plan kind of in your head that we're all going to get started implementing our systems on Monday, May 12th. And then don't have an end date in mind. It's just going to take as long as it takes to develop a habit. The more consistently you do it, the more automatic and habitual it will become. But at some point before the end of the semester, I'm going to ask you how it's going, and you'll have an opportunity to share what your experience has been like. You won't be expected to have met your goal at that point, but you will just have an opportunity to pause and reflect and see how it's going. Good luck, everybody. If you have any questions, I'll be back in class tomorrow to chat with you. Have fun.